Thanks for tuning in to Bourbon Drop. I'm your host, Myron. Today, we finally have the Penelope Rose Cask finish on the channel. I've told Kevin that I was going to do a review. I am actually putting this ahead of a few other reviews that I have because I just think it is time for me to get it done. I mean, I don't like making empty promises. So Kevin, I got you. But before we get started, no one won from the Bernheim review, and the actual number was 132. So we're going to do the same thing again. Between 100 and 200 is going to be a 3-digit number. Put it in the comments along with the word hat to win yourself one of these Bourbon Drop hats, and then let's get it.
Bottle drop, bottle drop, bottle drop.
So yes, this is the S&W Rose Cask finish. This one is a little higher in proof than a typical Rose Cask finish. This one comes in at 115 proof. It is just their typical 4 grain, so we'll get some of those facts out of the way real quick. I'll read off to you what their 4 grain consists of. It has a mash bill of 76% corn, 14% wheat, 7% rye, and 3% malted barley. Normally comes in around 4 to 5 years old. This one right here happens to be 4 years old. This one right here is 115 proof. They do have tasting notes on the side of the bottle. It says Rose Cask finish offers notes of candied vanilla and strawberry sweetness from southern France. So they go into more on their website. Both of these are from the Cooper finishing series. So what they're doing is they're taking their 4 grain, putting it in barrels, also their rye. This happens to be an 8-year rye. They put that in the Tokai wine barrel, and they're just giving you different finished products now coming from Penelope. Now that they are owned by Ross and Squibb, you should start to get a lot more older Penelope. So I'm waiting to see. Like, I have not had the 15-year yet. I do have a sample of that. Shout out to you, Shane. But this thing right here, man, I talked about this being one of the best bottles at Dennis's Bourbon Meetup, and it outshined quite a few of the big names there. If you have not watched that video, go back and take a look. You will see the bottles. You will see everyone who was there from the Whiskey Tube community. Shout out Bourbon Judge, Bourbon Hunter, Bourbon Retriever. We had bourbon everybody in there that night. So, you know, it was a lot of people there. And, you know, shout out to the Bourbon Judge once again. He had me on his live last night with the Bourbon Hunter. We had a great time. He's got some big things planned for the future, so I can't wait to see what that is going to be about. So, you know, with enough talking, shout out to Kevin. Let's get into this Penelope Rose Cask finish. The nose actually, it smells sweet on the nose, and it kind of has a little bit of a champagne nose on it. I get almost like sweet berries, apples. No, not really any vanilla. Yeah, sweet berries, apples, and that's pretty much it. All right, let's go in on the palate. You see, I had to do this thing justice by putting it in one of the fancy glasses. So let's get it on the palate. Oh, has a little bit of bite on it too. So it's very sweet up front. It almost feels like that. It almost feels like that bite. It's not a youthful bite at all. It almost feels like that bite is the same bite, and I know that this is not carbonated, but it's almost like that same bite that you get when you like sip on the champagne. That Rose Cask that they finished this thing in, to me, is heavily influencing this. Not to the point where it's undrinkable, because you guys know me. I do not like things that are over finished. This thing is good. Let's go back into the nose. Berries. A little bit of apple, like I said, man. Like a sweet apple. And that's pretty much it. I'm not picking up any like vanilla things on the nose. No, none of those notes at all. Let's go back into the palate one more time. So even on the front of the palate, there's like nice red berry notes. Middle of the palate, it's like a creamy vanilla. I don't pick up a lot of char. I do pick up like a strong leather note in the back, but no char. Now this says it's number 4 char on the staves and number 2 char on the heads. I didn't know that they could do that. I just thought they did it all in one process, but apparently they have another way of doing things that I didn't know about. But you know, I'm not going to sit up here and act like I know everything about whiskey, because I don't. But this is very good on the palate. It has a very good mouthfeel. Let's go back in one more time. And even on the front of the tongue, you pick up that rosé. You pick up the rosé on the front. You pick it up midway through. It's got a nice creaminess. It's got some sweet berries going on the palate. Now it's starting to linger a little bit on the palate. It's got a really nice finish, man. I would consider the mouthfeel to be medium. It's sweet. It's not overly sweet. And check out this glass cork. Like, that to me, that is so cool. I'll put the picture up. But like, Penelope always does a good job of packaging. They always do a good job of picking barrels. And now with this new Cooper line, this finish series, they're doing a good job putting out some finished stuff. So let's get into the breakdown. All right. So unfortunately, Kevin doesn't have any more of these at his store. Did a heck of a job with this pick. I am really digging it. But are they worth the chase? I've never had the 94 proof, but based off of this bottle, I am going to have to say that they are worth the chase. Now, are they worth retail or over retail? This is a pick. Picks are normally higher. This is offering you something completely different. This is coming in at 115. Like I said, once again, the normal comes in at 94. You can typically find the normal online for around 50 to 55 bucks. I think that it is worth that 50 to 55 bucks. I do think it is worth retail. Would I go over retail? Like I said, not having the 94, I can't say that. As far as this pick goes, I would definitely go 10 to 15 over retail. If, let's say, for some reason, he just found a case in the back that he totally forgot about. Like it was underneath some tater trace or something like that, right? And he just pulled it out and he was like, you know what? I only have a few left. I'm going to put them back out on the shelves. Now, Kevin is not one to do this, but let's just say he says, well, I'm going to put it on the shelf for $10 or $15 over retail. I would buy it. I would definitely buy that. Who is it for? I would say this is definitely for an intermediate bourbon drinker. I do think an experienced bourbon drinker would like it. I think that it is for, I would say, more of that middle of the road type guy who likes proof, doesn't like to be smashed in the mouth. People who like proof like myself, I think it is intermediate and up. So that's who I think this is for. We'll just say that. I think this is for intermediate and up. This being my first drink of the day, that 115 did come in with a little bit of a bite. I don't think I'd recommend this to a new bourbon drinker. I think that, you know, it would just, 115 would just be a little too much going on in the mouth for them. Will it always be on the bar? You guys know me. I like this thing a lot. I like it enough that I came home talking about it on the video. I think it was the best bottle of the night that night. I will nurse this thing and try to keep it on the bar. And with that being said, let the whiskey flow. Never run out unless you head it to a drop. Till next time.